times than crank today and no power steering again. So a common problem with the power steering, and I'm assuming you have an ATV, probably an 800XC, I'm going to guess. Am I right? Let me know. They are known for the sensors inside the power steering module to go bad. Let me know if I'm right on that. Nailed it. I nailed it, Bill. 800XC. They're the only ones with power steering issues. My crystal ball was charged. That's all. That's all. So what you got going on, Bill?
Well, been working with cams out in the garage. You got the pictures from that.
Yeah, I did. I shared them. I can't share them on here though, because my phone not connected.
The U10 engine is enough of a copy of the Yamaha, or is the Yamaha copy, that the cam actually fits. That's just wild.
Crazy, isn't it? China does China things. Yep. Yep. China does China things. Hoping to join the CFMOTO gang soon. Heck yes. Definitely come join us. Papa Lee on TikTok. I can't play music while I'm live on the tube. Maybe I'll do it after the fact. Same as what, triple, the Yamaha triple. Right, Bill?
Yeah, it's a copy of a 998 Yamaha triple, like is in the snowmobiles and the jet skis, and the YXZ, YXZ, the Yamaha side by side, and the Arctic Wildcat XX.
XGC Raptor says, got a Harley for sale. You want to buy it, Redneck? No, my wife actually already has a vibrator in the drawer. Thanks, though. She'd kill me if I said it. She doesn't, but it was still funny. Yeah, I'm not a Harley guy. Yeah, Sea Monster. He's laughing. So CFMOTO, I'm good, Papa Lee. How about you? CFMOTO, I wonder just how much of the Yamaha they copied in that engine.
I've been through the U10 service manuals. I haven't took one apart. But so much of that service manual looks like it was copied verbatim from the Yamaha manual.
It wouldn't surprise me. Look at what they did with the Can-Am. They copied the Can-Am engine almost to a T.
Yeah, the Yamaha's how you have to do the rod bearings and the other bearings in it are very different, and you see the same wording in the the U10 service manual. So I think it's a dead copy. Just a few things modified, but that's a good thing because that's what we're getting into here.
Do you think CFMOTO had ChatGTP build that engine?
No.
He said, when is the Z10 coming? The cleaning video I did was great. We're supposed to be getting the Z10s around April, but don't hold your breath. She may shake, but she's fast, he says. Right on. That's cool to hear. Jugs and pistons the same. So the U10 does not have jugs. It's a block. So I'm sure the pistons are almost identical. It has the same bore and stroke.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what you got over there for dinner, Bill.
Oh, well, it is dinner time here in Colorado.
Yeah, it's bedtime here.
So we worked that Yamaha engine a long time. A decade ago, I put a 285 horsepower turbo on that same basic blocking engine, and it was just nothing short of evil.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Trey, currently doing a build on my 1000 XL. Got my uni from you too. Just ordered some 30 Inch Intimidator should be in this week. Should I upgrade the springs? Yes. Anytime you go with a larger tire, you got to tune the clutch. There's really no way around it. I mean, you could get away with not doing it for so long, but it's just a ticking time bomb, if you will, huh, Bill?
Yep.
A lot of people, I see in the groups all the time, people saying, I'm running 32s. I'm running 30s stock clutch. But then that same guy 6 months from then is sending me his clutches and we're going through them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the clutches are.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, the clutches are good, but when you overload them, that belt gets so hot and starts screaming in there. I mean, if you drive around with your grandkids in it around the yard, you could probably get away with it. But if you ride them like me or Steve, it's not going to hold up.
No, it won't. Can you set me up? He says, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can. Give me a call and we'll get you set up. 330-806-0728. And we'll get you all fixed up and exactly what you need. We ask you we don't do stages here. We don't believe in stages. Stages are a one size fits all sales gimmick, and we do custom.
Yeah. I remember talking about stages at one time, and I realized Steven was talking about a pole in the middle of his shop, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that stage.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Get that fancy pole, swivels and everything.
Yeah.
I'll call
that's
you
the
tomorrow.
big one. I'm
Okay.
going to be staying for a day or two.
Yeah, exactly. When we talk about stages, Bill, stages do fit a few things. Stages could fit ECU tunes. They can fit clutches, but not CVT clutches. We're talking like manual shift clutches, right?
Yeah.
Because the different material compounds for different. Let's say you got 500 horsepower in your car. A stage 1 clutch is. I don't know what that was. A stage 1 clutch is good for 600, so you're good. Or you go to 800 horsepower, so you need a stage 2 clutch. You could do that, different material compounds. But when it comes to CVTs and belts, the stage thing, all it is just easy for sales. That's it. And it's like a one thing fits all.
Yeah,
and we work a little hard around here, don't we, Bill, not doing those stages?
No kidding. Yeah, it was probably a decade ago. I was doing clutches for the Yamaha snowmobiles for the Sidewinder, turbo Sidewinder. And I made the mistake of selling a few parts here and there, which people mixed with bad parts and then said my stuff doesn't work. So some of that stuff like that, like a Yamaha turbo snowmobile, if you buy it from me, you only get the complete kit because you can mess those up. And just like Steven's talking about, if you say, okay, this is a stage, we just want you to take this one part and then hope it works, it's not just a good thing. I mean,
no, it's not. Well, I that brings up a good point. Then I seen some comments I'll get to. I watched this guy. I don't remember his name, and that's kind of sad because I like watching him. He's on Facebook where I see his videos. He's a Harley tuner, not just Harleys, but most any motorcycles. And he was talking about how people will take a camshaft from X company and they'll take a piston and jug kit from other X company and they'll take a pipe from this company and they put all three together thinking that they got the best, performance, when in all reality, they kind of hurt themselves because this cam might not work good with this piston set and this piston cam set might not work good with the exhaust that they chose. So when you take multiple companies' things and put it in an engine, not all the time are they going to work great. More often than not, it's not going to work good. You might think it does because it sounds cool, but you're leaving power on the table.
And that's especially so with the belts on CFMOTO. Steven specializes in the belts for a reason, because the old clutches, the old CFMOTO clutches, a Gen 2 and older, the secondary was an Articat secondary. It was an old secondary. And, the old Trail Block is an old copy of a PB80. So that's what you call a soft clutch, and they need a soft belt to work with. That's great. You put a hard belt in there, and if some of you've done it, you already know what happens.
Yep.
So, but then when they move to the Gen 3 and the U10, now we're back with modern clutches. They have to have a hardened belt. So if you try to use a soft belt nose, you got another problem. So that stuff's got to match. You know,
It does.
all the Gen 2 stuff will match on those belts, other than the length, they'll all match. But the newer stuff, you got to be careful what you're doing with the belts.
And also coming to that belt idea there that you mentioned, Bill. Um, when people buy cheap knockoff junky belts from Amazon or eBay, you know, if the belt compound isn't right for the clutch, it will actually groove the clutch and eat the aluminum.
Yeah.
So when you see people with grooved up clutches, there's one of two things going on there, or maybe three things. One, they don't know how to drive. Two, it's not clutched right. Or three, they bought the wrong belt for that clutch. And if you get too soft of a belt for that clutch, for any clutch, it will eat the aluminum. It'll leave grooves in the clutch. If you get too hard of a belt, it will eat grooves in the clutch. And if you get the wrong belt compound, it will do the same thing. You could get a good belt, a great belt, but if it has the wrong compound, then I'll tell you, some belts have fiberglass and stuff in them. And what does fiberglass do to aluminum? It's abrasive. It's very abrasive. So you really got to watch the compounds that you get. So if I had a Highland Pro and put 33s and 4-inch lift with 15% gear reduction, what clutching and tune would you suggest to keep it quicker and more So get with us on the clutching stuff. Get with us personally. I don't know. Bill lost connection. Get with us personally on the clutching stuff so we can work with you one-on-one and get you set up with what you need. But essentially, our clutch kit for the U10, it's a complete kit. It comes with arms, primary springs, secondary springs, the whole 9 yards, and it will set you up for what you need to do. But I'm going to tell you this right now, 15% reduction is not what you want. You want to do the 30%. And most often than not, 15% is not ever hardly used. You got to match your percentage with the tire. And 33s should have a 30%. Hello from Canada. Hi, guys. 4-seater, FYI, says. Portal lifts. Is it necessary for the U10 heat shield if I'm only using it around the farm? Be your own judge on that. Be your own judge. See how hot your bed gets. Bet that thing looks good. Raptor, what color? What Raptor? Did I miss something? A building I'm looking into building with a custom full cage, kind of making it a trail tire. Heck yeah. And tow rig. Any updates on cams on CFMOTO heads? So some of that stuff is a little hush hush right now. And I don't know about Mr. RPM cams on the CFMOTO. Are you doing any tune files on your own yet? So when it comes to tune, Bill's hanging out there. Sorry, Bill, I didn't see you. When it comes to tunes and stuff, I have tuners that I trust and I back, that we work with. Yes, I can do my own files. I don't have time to, so I hire and dedicate people to do that. Because I don't have time to do it. But I do have all the equipment and everything. We actually use my equipment to tune them. So, yeah, we do our own, but I don't do them. So, and yes, I do work with these tuners close and help them out with dynos and stuff like that. And we all work together. We're all a team. But if you buy stuff through me, it's top notch. I don't sell junk to the public. This would be something I would stand directly to you.
So, Stephen,
yes.
Should we talk about those cams a little bit, being as I was asked?
If you want to.
Yeah. So here's what's going on with that, guys. I don't know who's technical with cams or not, and I'm not going to insult your intelligence by talking down to anybody. But what we're doing is looking at making those cams work better for the U10 for that block, the way that I think that they should work. It's going to take some doing. It's not going to happen tomorrow. The problem is the difference in the cams is the intake cam on the U10 has a cam phaser. So we have to be very careful about how we advance that cam, whether it hits a valve against a piston or something. We know where we want that cam to be. It's going to take some doing to make sure that it works correctly and doesn't, take out a piston or an engine. That's the problem. It's going to take a lot of testing. It looks really good at this point. What we found we like, it looks really good, but getting there is going to take a while, and we're not sure how that's going to go. But don't count on it. But it is in the background working on it.
Yes, it is, and I believe we're the first ones to be diving into this engine, as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah,
And
I mean, that engine has been out for well over a decade. In fact, I think 2006 is when they started using that engine in Yamaha. So it's been around a very long time, 2 decades, I guess. So there's a
yeah,
lot of stuff that's been done to that engine. Now the problem is that this engine's not exactly the same. It's close, but it's got a cam phaser. It's got some other things it does differently that we'll have to work into that. So it won't be as easy as calling up Crane Cams and say add 20 degrees of duration on this and getting it to work.
so Bill, I'm glad you brought up cam phasers, because that actually reminded me something that I really need to do a dedicated video about, but we'll talk about it here. You know as well as I do, Bill, on the cars, trucks, Ford, Chevy, they use cam phasers.
Yeah.
And what is the number one culprit causing timing chain issues? Cam phasers.
Yeah, cam phasers.
And a lot of that is caused by the consumer buying cheap oil. You need to buy good grade oil to use. Or the cam phasers, they have little tiny small passages and they will gum up, and then they will lock up and not work right, and your engine is going to run like crap. You're going to have timing chain rattle. You're going to have all these problems. So guys, when you're buying oil, for the love of Jesus, don't buy the cheapest thing you can find when it comes to the U10 engine, because the little tiny passages and oil evaporates, carbon deposits build up, and that's what causes gunk. And just use good oil. We do sell good oil kits on our website. In fact, I love the oil that I sell so much, I use it in all my cars. I'm a firm believer in oil is oil in certain things. You know what I'm saying? In my lawnmower, I'd run anything. But in my cars, with components that need to survive, you got to watch. What's up? Oh, Bill, you're muted again, Bill.
Oh, sorry, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, you talk about the phasers and the Fords, and we've done enough of those. And part of the problem with that is if you put a cheap oil filter that allows the oil to drain back down, those phasers rattle when you first start. And the adjusters make them rattle when they first start. So we do things for that. But I see a lot of people with U10 change their oil and then they get rattled. So if you got a rattle after changing your oil, look at what you use for a filter and the oil you're using.
Right, exactly. I'm going to tell these TikTok guys, join us on the red play button and you'll be able to interact with us a lot more. Yeah, exactly, Bill. That's the thing when it comes to that stuff. Just didn't know if you could read a file for me. Need to know if timing has been pulled. If not, I need some pulled. Yeah, I can access files, but I really like to have the ECUs. That way I know exactly what's going on. Enjoy your content. I'm loving the new clutch kit. I messaged you on the website earlier today with some pictures with a concern on my secondary. Okay, my wife gets those and she sets those aside for me. I kind of cut work a little short today to kind of dedicate time to do this. I just got some 20s and 33s. Should I wait till I get portals to run them? Not necessarily. I mean, just depends upon what you're doing. Just favor low gear a lot more. It's not even just the oil. It's the extreme intervals and bad. Yeah, you're right. That too. Going, I think my GM trucks want me to run something like 9 or 10,000 miles. No, thanks. I do 5,000 miles. And that's if I'm doing highway use. If I'm doing in-town use, I knock it down to 3,000. Yes, it's like $100 to change oil in one of those things, but $100 is cheaper than engine work. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, it really is, and that's the thing. Like with turbos, and we're not into the turbos yet. The Z10 will be, and turbos is worse because the shaft of the turbo overheats the oil and ruins it rather quickly. So like you
Oh
said,
yeah.
some of the manufacturers say 5, 10,000 miles on a turbo engine is a joke. The oil can't survive that long.
And the thing is, they're not cooling the oil before or after the turbo either.
Yeah.
It's dropping right down into the sump and relying on the oil pump to pick it up, throw it into the filter, throw it through a cooler if it's got a cooler. That's a big if it's got a cooler, because not every engine has a cooler. But yeah, turbos, even if you're not running high boost, it don't matter. Turbos get hot. That's how they work. The hotter they are, the more boost they build. Kind of in a way, that's where boost comes from, is heat.
And people ask me about oil, and I tell them the same thing: get your machine to operating temperature, check your dipstick, and if it falls off like water, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I know, running the turbo on that U-Force I got, the oil definitely gets dirtier quicker. And I actually had to install a pump to pull the oil out of the turbo. Otherwise, it'll just burn the oil and kind of caramelize it, if you will. There's a technical term for it. I'm not an oil geek, but I know enough to be dangerous. I don't know anything about Pro Lube oil, buddy. I'm not sure. I kind of stick with what I stick with, I'm old school, every 3 months or 3,000 miles period. Yeah, time is not really a concern with oil. Oil don't go bad for a long time. Long time. I think it's like 5 years. So if it's or if you get a lot of condensation buildup, short drives will do that. And if you guys are short driving your machines in the cold, stop doing that. Let them warm up. Let them warm up. Recently bought a 21 U-Force and keep low voltage code. I clear the code and it will take hours or days to come back on again. It's hard to start until I clear it. Change the battery. Put a good battery in it. That's the biggest thing for low voltage like that code. Put a good battery in it. These CFMOTO batteries are junk. And then if you got a 2021, chances are the battery in it is junk. Cheap batteries, cheap garbage batteries will also cause these issues. You got to watch these electronics. They don't, you just got to watch. Bill, what's new? What do we got new working on that we can talk about? I can't think of anything, but maybe you can.
Mainly, we modified that's already out the spring on the U10 to fit a little better. The old one worked fine, but people wanted a little better fit, so we got that.
Yep.
We're working on the cams for the U10. We've been playing with turbos. I'm of the strong opinion that the U10 was supposed to be a turbo and was removed to get it out on the market in time. So we've been working on some of that stuff. We're looking for the Z4 to the Z10. We've had some little minor fixes here and there. What else were? The Can-Am. I'm really happy to see what Steven got out of that Can-Am creation on the clutches. That's just nothing short of amazing. But that's what we do. I mean, I've done CVTs for turbos now going 2015 till now, so that's a decade on. And turbos are very, very different. If you have trouble with regular clutching, you're going to have real trouble with the turbo, and that may be I think the slowness is on the Z10. I hope it is, because that means we can make it do like we did with the Z10. I mean, with the Can-Am.
Yeah, and I'm already working on a belt for the Z10. That's already in the works.
Yeah, and that yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the stock belt on the Z10, it's kind of sad to begin with. And then you put our clutch kit in there and put all that extra power into that CVT, and the belt's even less happy.
Yep, exactly. What's the matter with CFMOTO? They use such good belts on a lot of the other machines, and then these they like cheap out. What? Or maybe it's a supply and demand issue. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, they're not the only one that does. All other power sports do it too. Arctic Cat's put the wrong spring in their snowmobiles since 2012 and are still doing it to this day. So, and that's such a simple fix. It's funny to see how these companies have such a simple fix, but they ignore it.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is pretty crazy that they do that stuff. And then like the U10 bill, how they clutch that thing from the factory, that I have to Bill, when we started messing with the U10 clutch, before we touched the U10, before we ever got it, we're like, wow, maybe CFMOTO figured this out. And we were brainstorming before we even got the clutches, because we had the clutches before we had the machines. But before we even got the clutches, we were brainstorming how can we make it better if CFMOTO made it this good, right? But then we get the clutches and we're looking, and just looking at them, we knew. And then when we got the machines, we were like, oh, turns out the U10 is the worst clutch that CFMOTO ever produced. The worst.
Yeah. And part of that, remember, I was saying that I'm pretty sure that they're supposed to come with a turbo. Those stock weights in your U10 are heavy enough for a turbo. We have to take those way back down and make them work right. So I think it was really supposed to be a turbo, and that's why they put. Otherwise, why would they put so heavy weights in there? I think they were 99 grams, weren't they? Something.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Yeah. So and and it's not just them. There aren't a lot of old people like me doing CVTs because there just isn't a lot of them left. If you look at the clutches, and if you've drove a Kawasaki KRX 1000, the clutches in those are much worse than anything CFMOTO did as far as performance. They got a rev limit at 9,500 and a clutch set at 6,500. It's just so far off, it's not even a joke.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It isn't just the CFMOTO stuff. The other guys are struggling bad too. Arctic Cat has had clutches disassembling for some time. I think you
Sorry,
were
Bill.
off.
No, I muted my mic while you were talking so I could tell the guys over on TikTok to
okay.
to come on over.
It's a and I like that they give us a lot of room to work with on these clutches, but yeah, there just isn't that many people out there that really know how to make those work, and that's kind of the problem. That doesn't mean that we're the smartest guys in the world, but it does mean that the other vendors are having trouble with clutches too.
Well, and so I'm not going to say any names here to keep it respectful. That, and I honestly can't remember the name. But I had a customer the other day call me, and he had bought a competitor clutch kit. Not a close competitor, I'll say that. I honest to God, I don't remember the name. Bill, you and I will talk about it off screen, and maybe we can figure out who it was. But they only offer a secondary spring and a helix, and the guy had gotten it, and he was having problems with it and couldn't get it to work right. He called me and he was telling me about this stuff, and he's like, I was in a rush and I googled U10 clutch kits, and I found it, and it came up and it was available. He's like, I got excited. He goes, and then I get it installed, and the dealer that installed it said, why didn't you go with R.N.G? And he's like, well, I don't know who they are, right? So he calls me and he's telling me about all these problems, and the company won't help him. They left him hanging high and dry. So he actually placed an order for our U10 clutch kit, and he's waiting on it. So I'll be happy to see what we can do for him. But it's like that when you buy something from a company and they can't help you fix their product, they shouldn't be selling said product.
Yeah, I mean, that's like what I mentioned earlier. Our U10 spring fit okay, but people didn't like, worked fine. They didn't quite like the fit. So we go back in, re-engineer, and spend thousands of dollars just to change that one little piece to make, people happy, to make say, okay, this fits better.
Right. And to cover that spring, Bill, I still send that original spring out. And then anybody who has an issue, I send them, I ain't been charging or nothing for it. I just send them the other spring, or I give them the option on the website, which spring do you want? But the one that doesn't fit, to me, works the best.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I run.
Yeah. And part of what I wanted to mention into that, part of what the problem is, everybody can say, why are you having trouble with spring? Well, on the U10, if you have one and taken it apart, this, there are two different sizes on the ends. The cap
Yep.
and the secondary are two different sizes. And on the secondary itself, where they cut the groove the spring goes in, is not round all the way around. So the whole thing doesn't fit right. So we have to have a spring specially made that's thicker. The diameter is larger on one end than it is the other. So that's why we had to get into that, is because of the way it was made. That's just
right on the primary, because you don't have one. The machinist still has it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot. If I was at the shop, I'd run and get one so I could show these guys what we're talking about. But if you've had a U10 clutch apart, you take the what are they, 2, 4, 6 bolts out of the hat. You take those out, and then on that hat, if you take that hat off, look at it. There's a hole, a little I got a brain fart, but there's a little spring seat, is what it is. The spring will sit in that seat, and there's a lip on both ends, and it has to sit in there just right, or springs will do weird things. But then in the primary itself, when you're going into the primary, there's a nut, kind of like Polaris and Can-Am. There's a nut in there. And then that spring seat is a different size than the one that's on the hat. So CFMOTO used a long slinky spring, thinner wire. But the problem we were seeing with that spring, because sometimes we can develop a clutch kit and utilize the stock spring. Sometimes. On the U10, you don't want to do that, because that spring isn't right. And we're talking a spring that's like this long. You got the spring, Bill? Or they got that?
Sorry?
You got the U10 stock spring handy, or the?
No, I do not. Or maybe.
Do you have a long spring?
Yeah, I think I have that here.
That's it. It's in your hand.
Yeah. Let me grab one of these oranges.
Yeah. Show them the difference while I'm talking. So you guys see how long that spring is, right? Okay. That spring is almost double the length of our spring. So you got to compress that spring down to basically the length of our spring first. And then the clutch still has to move in and out. Well, when you do that, you put a spring under. Have y'all ever took a spring out of a pen or something and squished it in your hand? It wants to bow and kind of bind on itself. Well, that's what happens with the U10 spring. So we had to ditch that. I don't know. I think they did that because some of the issues that we're running into, but we manufactured a spring that works. It's just tight around the nut. It's not going to hurt it at all. No clutch issues, nothing. It's just people who are having problems. It's all up here. They're not clutch tuners. They didn't build the springs like Bill and I did. So they don't have a clue, but I can assure you, if I sell it to you, it's good. And if it's not good, I back it. And Bill backs it. Bill's one of these ways.
And if you get curious enough to look yourself, the hat is 41 millimeters on the outside, and the base is 43 millimeters on the outside. So you can't just put a regular spring in, unless you make a spring small enough to fit, and then it doesn't
like
work.
CFMOTO did.
Yeah.
And Bill, what all they had to do was make the spring seats different sizes.
Yeah.
That's and there's room to do that. There's room to do that.
And nobody knows why they wouldn't make them the same size unless it was just a mistake.
Well, I question some of the engineers that they got.
Yeah.
I bought a primary and secondary spring and some weights for my Z-Force 950 HOEX from you. If I moved the bigger spring to a different spots, what would it do? What color spring? Well, honestly, it's better to private message me so I can work with you one-on-one. I don't for say like to give out information via the internet, because then I get another guy with a different color spring wanting to do the same things I told you to do, and it ends up all messed up, and then they go to Facebook, I got R.N.G stuff and it's not working right because they heard me tell you one thing, and just private message me. We'll work together.
To add what Steven said, if you ever put a stereo in your car, you know that the parts have to match. So if we tell you use this part on anything you use, it's not going to work. The parts have to match. Those kits that Steven puts together, when you call them, the parts match. They have to match. So I would never tell anybody, grab this spring and try it and see what it does. And unless it's Fernando and him, hey, he can just try it. I'm just kidding. I'll get him there.
Well, you know, Bill, that I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because it reminded me of something. So Bill and I, when we're doing clutch kits and maybe even tweaks or changes to something we already have on the market, because we do anytime we make a change, it's for the better. It doesn't mean that what we already had was junk or garbage. It just means that we found a way to be better, so we continue to be better. Now, that doesn't mean run out and get the newest spring we got. That is not worth spending the money. And we'll be the first ones to tell you that, hey, the change we did on this one 3 generations ago is just as good, right? But one thing that we do that a lot of clutch tuners do not do is we work with a select few individuals who are unbiased, and they do hardcore riding like we do, and they'll test and they'll give us data and feedback. And once we get feedback from them, feedback from me, feedback from Bill over here, then we decide what the next step is to bring this kit to the market, because we don't necessarily want to have the best in one area. We want to have the best over all areas, and therefore multiple kits. We have multiple setups. We have multiple springs, different things for different tire sizes, riding styles, grandma, grandpa. We cover everything, all the bases. So that's why we don't do stages. We do custom kits. And Bill, wouldn't you say us doing custom kits is really why we're top-notch, top-tiered, the number one in the CFMOTO clutch game? Because we work with the customer, and we have more satisfied customers because we're able to specifically tune for them over versus a stage 1, 2, or 3. Wouldn't you say that?
Well, I'm certainly not going to disagree with you, but I think what is more important, is that we make constant changes. We put out a product. People bought the SRM3 Helix. That's the 4th version of that Helix. So we keep that. Is like Steven said, we don't sell you bad stuff, but we want to keep going with that stuff. And we take great pride in that, and making sure that we change on the fly. If we get word back from you guys that something you don't like on the Helix, we change on the fly. We'll have a new one out and ready to go within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the other vendors are going to take 3 months to 6 months. So I think that's what kept us ahead, is we're always one step ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you're fine. You had something else.
Yeah, we've had, and Steve and I would like me to mention this, but we've had a couple of copies of my stuff. And I even talked to people that did the manufacturing of the copy. And the funny thing is, by the time they copied it, they were already behind.
Yeah. They copied the original version, and we were already on version 4. So that's how long it takes for a company to copy. A lot of companies, they can't have this stuff done so quick. We can have it done fairly quick and have good turnarounds on most clutch parts. But it takes companies months, because the they'll send it to China and let China, because if they send it to a U.S. Machinist, they're likely to say, no, I'm not copying this. That I have to give credit to machinists. You send it to China, oh yeah, be ready in 5 minutes. It just takes 6 months to get to you. But that brings me to with Bill and I making changes, we're able to, and we don't directly advertise this, nor do we really want to do it all the time, but we do have people who race, people who tune their own stuff, and they want custom parts. We have made custom helixes for a few different people, ain't we, Bill?
Yep. One of them is on here tonight.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have to look. I don't see him.
Yeah. So, and we can do that because we have the ability to make those changes in a hurry and on the fly. Look how fast we had U10 weights out.
Fast.
Yeah. We're a little slow getting them made now because this is the manufacturing United States wide has slowed up since a bunch of it came back from overseas. So we do have a slow up in manufacturing. We're doing as well or better than anybody else, but yeah, so but we were there, we got them done, we got them tested, and what Stephen was saying is right. I build that stuff, design, build that stuff here. I test it the way I like it, and then Diane has to write it because Grandma wants to putt around in the yard and not have things slam in and make noise and all that stuff. So once I feel like I've got both of those accomplished, I send it on to Stephen, and he abuses the hell out. I mean, he drives them, and then he decides what changes he wants. And we usually end up with a Bill version and a Stephen version, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good for you guys.
Yeah, it is. And that's why. So okay. So I'm gonna get to comments in just a second, guys. Hang tight in there. I see you. But Bill and I wanted to address quite a few things during this. And a lot of I see a lot of comments on my posts that say, you're just rebranding somebody else's parts. And truth be told, I don't brand any of the parts. That's number one. I don't brand any of the parts. Bill's helixes. Okay. So like even the helix he makes for me, because he makes a helix specifically for me against his will, but for me, and it's got his branding on it. Okay. I don't do that. Even though Bill and I work together, we set up together, we test together, we tune together. Everything we do clutch related, we do together. It's a team effort. But Bill's the parts guy. He makes the parts for me. He does everything for me. If I say, "Hey Bill, I want to try this." He goes, "Okay. All right. I don't think it's going to work, but all right." That's what he says to me. And I'll go, "Well, I want to try it." And I like to play. But Bill does things, I'll be like, "I don't think it's going to work, Bill." And then he comes back and he's like redneck. He goes, "It worked." And I'm like, "Send me one," you know? And so we do that to each other, but it keeps us both on our toes, and two brains are better than one. So that I don't rebrand nothing at all. Sure, on my website it says R.N.G. clutch kits. It's because I put the kits together. Bill makes the parts. He tunes his way, I tune my way, and but he's high altitude, I'm low altitude. We tune differently, and he mainly focuses on snowmobile stuff, right? So I tune differently, but I also, if I have a rider that I'm not familiar with, I go, "Hey Bill, how do you think we should set this guy up?" I don't want him to call me and hate it, right? So, and that, if you have one of our setups and something's off, all you got to do is get with me. We will get you set up. We will make you happy. One way or another, we'll make you happy. So, number one, we don't rebrand nothing. Even my own Helix has Bill's name on it.
Or it says R.N.G. on it. I told him, I said, "Steven, this is your fault for putting R.N.G. on it." And it worked. It worked for him. I don't like, you see, I don't like dragger stuff. I like working the low end and mid range. Steven likes to go fast. I like to go slower. And that's a good thing for you guys because we pit that against each other and find a good middle ground. And the R.N.G. is his. And that's his design. I have them made. That's why it says R.N.G. on it. So he didn't really rebrand it. I did. I rebranded it with him on it because that's
Yep.
his. That's his design.
Yep.
So we do that. I want to mention something real quick about the magnets. We got to talk about that. Those
Yeah.
are
That's yeah.
those are. I didn't mean to get in the middle of your thing, Steve, but I really want to
No,
talk
you're
about
fine.
this
You're
because we've been
fine.
through this before. So these magnets are very delicate and they're coated with a chrome coating. If you take them in and out and force them in and out, they'll break. If you lay them on a table and let them snap together, they'll break. If you put them in a weight and leave it alone, it'll run forever. But if you mess with them and push them, shove them out, they're going to break. So if you need to take them out for some reason, then and you break one, that's expected.
Yes, and so we send you enough weights, and if you need more, just reach out to me. We'll get you some more. But we send enough weights to fill the arms all, completely up. Right? We send you enough to fill the arms completely up. Under no circumstances should you have those arms filled completely up. So, in other words, that is our way of giving you extra.
Yes.
So that like I said, I don't care how you're tuning, under zero circumstances will you ever need to fill those arms completely full of magnets. So that's our way of giving you a few extra magnets for that. But again, they do break. That's just a neodymium way of magnets. They're fragile and they're small. The bigger they get, the less fragile they get, but they're still fragile. You can take a neodymium magnet that's this size, drop it on carpet, and it'll shatter. But those are the strongest magnets money can buy, so that's why we use them. But again, if you do need more, we are not afraid to help you out and get you some. I do have spares around the shop. We can easily, do whatever and get you some. Let me go through a couple of these comments here, Bill, real quick. Yeah. Let's see. What are the different spring? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. I'm just going back. CFMOTO could be particularly of side-by-side cause. So what? I don't understand that one. Did you understand that one?
Sea Monster just say he's going to remove some magnets.
He must have filled them. Hey, listen, bro, if it's working for you, particular clause, sometimes these don't get even worse than that. So if you have any questions, you just ask. So if you just curious of stuff, so particular, fine. And so, yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't understand that. Where can I private message you for some info? My website, www.rngperformance.net, or Facebook on Messenger. Hello, looking to get your clutch set up for my 23950 trail. Questions asked about a couple things I'm unsure about. Gen 1, 2, 3. How do I know which one I have? 950, a 23 950 trail. You're going to have a Gen 2. You will have a Gen 2 model. What type of driving? Obviously, it's off-road, but it's not hard driving or jumping the unit, etc. We do love our trail riding, just looking for a smoother takeoff. So for that, you just need a primary clutch kit that smooth it out, and depending upon how many miles, what kind of shape your belt's in, you may want a new belt too, as well. Okay. Let's see. BRB got to remove some. You're crazy, Sea Monster. You're crazy. But yeah, so to clear the air on the, we rebrand other people's no, it's our legit clutch kit. Bill and I work hand in hand together. We test together. We don't ride together, but because he's high altitude, I'm low altitude. We, share brain ideas. I got a dyno. Bill has a butt dyno. I also have a butt dyno. I really like my butt dyno. I'm pretty accurate with my butt dyno, but I have a dyno that we use. We always use the dyno tuning in clutch kits. But the dyno doesn't have the last say, because You could get something that looks really good on a dyno screen, but it'd be really bad in the real world. Right, Bill?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, can you explain the 2-speed weights? Because I've been getting comments saying that it looks like all we did was slow down the clutch.
Yeah.
We need to explain that because a lot of
One
people
step,
don't know what the hell they're talking about.
one step ahead of you. So this was the test weight for the Gen 3. I'd say long ago, but it really hasn't been that long ago. And here is the final production weight. The difference is, let me set this down, is I changed how far this ramp went out before it changed. So this, because it's a steeper angle, is like a lower gear, like it's a 2-speed, like a low gear here, and then it changes to a higher gear. Now, I don't have one of the U10s sitting here right next to me, but the U10 shift is a lot shorter. It's a very short shift because of the way it's designed. And why do we do that? Because that's what it needed to work correctly. So that's exactly what we're talking about with those is that's how we can do these so fast. I've done these things for so long that I'll look at it and say, I think it needs that. I build that, I test it, I send it to Steven, and Steven said, no, the shift is wrong in the bottom end. And I go back, retest it, and I go, you're right. The shift, it needs a longer shift before it shifts up. We change it in production and send it out. We haven't had to, and you know what? Sometimes we have changes. We haven't had to change a Gen 3 weight yet. It's just exactly what we want.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And Bill says we haven't changed. We have changed, but we haven't changed production weights. Because Bill ain't gonna tell you this, but grinders can create profiles. So, we can test certain things to see what works. Show them the Can-Am. You got one of the, you might not have the exact one, like the exact weight, but you got one of the Can-Am arms, and it's one that we're prototyping for the Can-Am, and it's working great.
Yeah, and let me go over here and get one of them. And
for different clocking tensions.
And I think I have a Can-Am. I got so much crap laying around my shop. But I'm the only one that does that with all the crap, right? No.
Right. He says, we bought it brand new and the clutch has been jerky since mile 1. Heard your clutch kit will smooth out the takeoffs. Thank you for the... Yes, you'll want our primary clutch kit for that. Dang, I got my weight arms full, but run strong on G3. CFM2 pull strong also. Got the Gen 3. Yeah, you really shouldn't have them full because that's overweighted. Pull some out and you'll feel it pull even stronger because then you make the weights... You make the clutch less lazy that way. You'll really feel it on and off the throttle.
Okay, so
back shift.
Have we're talking about first. That is the Can-Am weight.
Stock weight. That's the stock one. Yep.
So here's what we do to it.
Yep.
Let me take these off here. So that is just pretty much a flat weight, right?
Yeah.
Flatter weight, which is good. They're finally getting around to that. Now this one, look at the shift pattern on the bottom.
And have you guys seen my Can-Am video? It's wild. It's wicked.
Yeah. Now here's the thing that for the people that are technical, look at the difference in the shift patterns on those two weights. This one is a launch and shift that thing up hard because it's a turbo. This one's not a turbo. This says stay in the lower range to get some real wheel spin on takeoff. So that's where we do this. That's where we do this. So that's what we did on the Can-Am. The side note on that's kind of amusing is I didn't make these for Can-Am. These were made for an Adapt snowmobile clutch. And Steve says, see if they'll fit. And I told him there's no way. There's no way that'll fit. And they did.
They fit. Yep. So that's not the weight that we're going with. But that's the one that we're testing with because it's what we already have. We don't have to have nothing made. And when Bill and I test, once we test something, we know what way we got to go with it. And then we'll have that made, and then we'll retest, and then we'll know, hey, do we need to go this way or that way, or is this perfect? We'll know that. That's what we do. Clutching is what we do.
Yeah, and just so if somebody doesn't ask, the change between that and the production weight will just be the amount of weight on it. We're not changing the arm or how it works because it works really well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like the Gen 3 weights, we hit those right on the head with the
Yeah.
hammer. And I haven't had not one person complain. I'm sorry, I take that back. I have had a lot of people complain about that kit, and it's not because it's a bad kit. You know what my complaints are that I get, Bill?
Uh,
It's too much power. Can we dial it back?
I
That is
know.
the number one complaint. The number one complaint, I swear to you. I swear to you. I'll get my wife down here to validate that. When
Yeah.
people get our Gen 3 kit, they, not everybody, but a lot of people, they're like, bro, is there something we can do with this to dial it back? Because it is too much. And
Yeah.
it's not that it's undrivable, it's just a lot of freaking power we're putting to
Yeah.
the ground.
Now, one of your messages there was talking about the springs and the three positions, and I thought that'd be fun to hit. Um, so this varies a lot, and it gets really technical. But
Mm-hmm.
the tighter the spring, the faster your upshift. Like if you've got your pickup, your standard transmission. So the tighter you tighten that spring, the longer you stay in the rev before you shift. Or the
Yep.
looser the spring, the quicker the upshift is. So think of it as just being a four-speed in a car or a truck, and the spring is how you determine where it shifts at. Um, it's
We can do
technical
that.
though. You can't just throw a spring in and say, "Oh, I'll buy a better spring that'll work," because you need a tight spring for a steep angle and a soft spring for a dull angle, and you can't just toss those in and work. That's where it becomes the value of getting something that matches. If you buy a helix and then buy a spring off of eBay, good luck to you. The odds are astronomical to hit it the first time.
Right, exactly. Hold on, Bill. For those of you who saying you can't hear us, it's because we are live on the red play button. So I can hear Bill. Go over to my red play button channel, R.N.G Performance. Join us live over there and we'll interact a lot more. I'm just doing the TikTok thing just to do it. But yeah, go to the red play button, guys. R.N.G Performance. Then you'll be able to hear what he's saying, and then you'll understand a lot better of what we're doing. Yeah. You know, I could become a millionaire by doing a video on clocking.
Yeah.
The problem is the video would be about 25 years long.
Yeah.
There's no simple way of breaking it down because each helix, whether it's ours, a stock, a competitor's, the holes in the helix are different positions. Whether it be a spring, the tangs in the spring rates, that changes everything. All kinds of different variables. So let's talk stock. So you can get a CV Tech chart, and it gives you the chart and tells you how you could clock that stock. As soon as you throw in one of our helixes or somebody else's helixes, you can throw that chart right in the trash. It changed everything. Same can be said about a spring. So clocking, guys, I know clocking is, everybody wants to know what the differences are. And the only thing I can tell you is if you got our clutch kit or a competitor's clutch kit, you need to reach out to whoever you bought the kit from and ask them what they recommend settings, because we sell a few different springs, Bill, where we can only clock, one of them can only be clocked one of three ways. We got another spring where we can clock it 10 different ways. We
Yeah.
got another spring. And the chart, that the B1, B2, B3, A4, A9, A10, whatever, all that goes out the window and changes when you change a spring to another spring. It's so hard. How could you, Bill? How could you even you couldn't sum that up in no way, shape, or form.
Well, the short way that I do it is that the helix is the large the helix is the large change in shifting, and the spring is the fine tuning. That's
And
easy.
so let's say the SR we got an SRM3, we got an R1, and we got an SRM2 and a 2A and a 3A. So many different helix options.
Yeah.
But let's say we take the R1 and the SRM3. We're using the same spring on both. Let's say I clock the R1 at, I don't know, A4 with my, or B3 with my R1. The R1 needs a slightly tighter spring because it's a faster upshift.
Yes.
If you use that same clocking on the SRM3, it would be too tight and you would just hang in the rev limiter. You would just
Yes.
hold rev limiter.
Yes.
So everything changes. Even when you're using components from the same guys, it all changes.
Yeah, and they put like A4, B1, 11D3, whatever they want to put. But when you talk about the springs on those helixes, it's easier to think of preload. In other words, you put the helix on, and however far you turn it before you lock it is preload. So
Right.
most of the CFMOTO stuff likes about 20, 30 degrees of preload. If you get into snowmobiles or U10, now you're 50, 60 degrees of preload. So it gets really technical. It's really iffy. The best thing to remember is that if you want to put an extra low gear in, or if you're pushing a snowplow or something, you want a slow upshift and a tight spring. That makes it
Right.
like staying in a low gear. So the best thing about that is, though, buy a kit and leave it alone, because there are a dozen different things that all affect each other. The primary is supposed to affect your top RPM and your engagement. The secondary is supposed to affect the shift, but they interact with each other. So you put too stiff a spring in a secondary, you raise the RPM in the primary. So they interrelate. So if you start
Yep.
mixing and matching parts, good luck. We will help you on the stuff you buy from us, but there's a lot of people that buy the bad stuff and they want us to fix it, and we can't do that.
Yeah, the only way we can fix it is by getting them our stuff. We'll come back to that, Bill. I want to address a couple comments.
Yeah.
Redneck, 2 years ago, you sold me the primary clutch kit for my U4 600. Followed your video to install. It was perfect. Took the jerkiness out. Ran perfect. Awesome. We love to hear that. We love that feedback. And guys, even if you have an issue, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am a company that is going to help you. It might take me a day or two, sometimes 3, to get back to you. I will get back to you. I promise. I promise. Just be patient with me because I have so much going on. 25 U-Force 1000. I hate the hard hit on takeoff and jerky. Will a secondary clutch kit take care of that? Send us a message. Send us a message. Let us work with you one-on-one. Send us a message, guys. Clutch kit questions like that, send me a message. Let us work with you one-on-one. We'll get you dialed in. Doing it here isn't really the answer, guys. Let us work with you and get you what you need. Thank you so much. Glad you are doing this live stream. Always good to get answers right away. Appreciate your video. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you a ton. Do I need a new clutch kit? Yes. No, you should really get a clutch kit when you change tires.
Yeah.
Built a clutch on my 2016 Z800 last month, and it works better than when I got it new. Got it. How much would it help to get the ECU tune? ECU tunes on the 800 really wake it up, but not a necessity. It's not a necessity, but if you want that little extra, it's definitely worth it. We can get you fixed up. It felt solid going into the install, knowing I could reach out, and if I had a question, the video was clear, so I didn't have one. Thank you, guys. We really work hard to help everybody. We really appreciate you. Hopefully, I got that caught up.
Yeah,
what
one
was
of the
we?
one of the
Go
things I'd
ahead.
like to, if I could, Mr. Stephen, I noticed that one of the guys there mentioned that his Gen 3 had filled it with weights and had the slow shift helix, and that does work. But let me explain something.
Yeah.
The kits are very adjustable. They're that way deliberately for a reason. Stephen likes his one way, I like mine another way. That doesn't mean either one of us is wrong. It means we like how they run. Let me give the Kawasaki kit for an example. The KRX that I did the kit on, I had it all the way up to 93, 9400 RPM, and 95 is the limit. And when I was done playing with it, I dialed it back to 8,000 so I could sell it. because the person I sold it to isn't going to want that thing screaming at 9,500 RPM. So you
Right.
get the advantage. You have a base setup from Steven, and please feel free to do anything you want. Just don't badmouth this one if it doesn't work. But you can do that.
Right.
You can put more weight in the arms, and by bringing the top RPM down, you bring the performance down, but the cruising RPM goes way down. So
Right.
whatever you like is what this is for, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, Bill, if you remember when we were discussing doing these new Omni Drive clutches, my biggest concern was making it adjustable for the people, because the last thing, as a company, we have to make money. Bill has to make money. I have a family. He's got a family. We have to make money in this, or we just can't do it. But there's a fine line between making money and taking care of the customer. Taking care of the customer is top priority. Money is just an added bonus.
Yes.
So one thing Bill and I discussed when we made these clutch kits is making them adjustable so you didn't have to come back to us to buy more parts. Because a lot of people, and all of our clutch kits, if you get a primary kit but you want to, let's not talk about the Omni Drive real quick. Let's talk about the CV Tech. If you buy a primary kit from us and then a year later you want to buy a secondary kit, you don't have to buy another primary kit. Well, we can get you set up with what you got to save you money. Now let's go back to the Omni Drive. So the Omni Drive clutch is completely different. It has to have all those components regardless, or it's not even worth spending money on. It's just that type of clutch.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for Bill and I, we wanted it to be tunable. So you didn't have to, let's say you bought it stock and you left it stock for a year, and you go, hey, Redneck, how should I set this clutch up stock? We're going to help you. But then a year and a half later, you say, hey, Redneck, I got your clutch kit. I got you and Bill's clutch kit. I'm putting 33s on it. What should I do? Well, the number one thing is we don't have to sell you another kit. The one you have, we can adjust for that. We can adjust all the way up to a 35-inch tire with no clutch parts changes. So it doesn't matter. The kits we designed them to be a lifelong kit, adjustable for every user. And that's what really sets us apart from any other competition out there, because not only are we thinking of building the best parts money can buy, but we're also thinking, while we're doing that, how to save you a ton of extra money later on when you decide you want to go a different route with your build. And that is very common. Bill, I couldn't tell you how many times I get customers that a year later from them buying a clutch kit, they want to go to the next level with their build, right? And they're always asking me, do I need different clutch components? And the answer to that is, if you have the Omni Drive clutch, our clutch kit, no, you don't. We can tune it. Now, there are some extravagant cases where we might have to build you a whole different helix or sell you a different spring or something, but those are extravaganza, right? Those are extravagant mud bogger, drag racer type situations. What would you say, Bill?
Oh, I would say so. Alfredo came to mind. I see he's over there on the side.
Oh, yeah.
He builds some special stuff, but
yeah, he does.
That's the thing. We can do that, and that's so part of what he's talking about. Let me go into that a little farther. You say, why do you have an SRM2 and an SRM3? Well, because the SRM3 does everything. The SRM2 has a slower shift in it, creates more power. You lose 4 or 5 mile an hour on the top end, but you gain that to push a snowplow, to pull a trailer, to pull the kids around, to mud bog. It gives you a slower shift and more power in the low and bottom end. So that's part of what we do for you, so you can tune that. We have an SRM2 and a 2A. The 2A is between the two, so you get both the worlds. So you can pretty much buy what you want, and you don't have to have either one. That works with both, but it's just going the extra mile to make sure you can set what you want to do.
Right, exactly. And now over in the chat, I did see a number one asked question. Does the clutch kits void the CFMOTO factory warranty? The answer to that is no. No, it does not. Adding a clutch kit does not, by any stretch of the imagination, void any kind of warranty on your machine. ECU tunes, however, do. Going to a even one size up tire definitely will. The clutch kit, no, it won't. Adding a muffler, no, it won't. Depending upon the muffler, though. I mean, if you got some kind of wild thing and you burn out some valves, CFMOTO is going to be like, yo, bro, this is on you. But a clutch kit, no, definitely not. We actually have over 400 dealers, I would say nationwide, but it's actually worldwide, globally, that install our clutch kits for their customers. And we have never once heard of any kind of warranty issues. So no. And if you ask a dealer, you know, they're going to tell you no. And unless it's a crappy dealer that just don't want you to buy a clutch kit unless they're selling it to you. So, you know, you got to watch out for that. Dealers can be biased, but no, they won't. Yes. And that's exactly it. Sea Monster, the Magnuson Act. That is a big thing. You can do a lot of stuff to your machine and not void a warranty. Now, let me tell you, you put bigger tire, even one size up, guys, one size up from factory. Or I've even seen same sizes with thicker knobs get denied on warranty for that, because it's harder on transmission components. And if you have a transmission that fails or a differential that fails, they're gonna say it was your tires. Chances are it wasn't your tires, but they're gonna say it was, and then it's up to you to fight them. And that's just that. But a good dealer goes a long way. If you have a dealer that's denying claims that you know wholeheartedly should be claimable, you, sir, ma'am, need a new dealer. Dealers make or break that stuff. So, no, you do not need an ECU tune with a clutch kit. You do not. The manufacturer must be able to prove that the modification made directly caused the failure of said part or machine. Correct. And a lot of people don't know this, but the CFMOTO clutch is only warranted for 90 days. The belt, only 30 days. Did you have anything to add to that, Bill?
Not at all. Not at all. I saw a post up there about something about put a competitor's clutch kit and destroyed a rack. I don't know how that goes or what happens to that. None of our clutch kits would ever be capable of doing that. I don't know if you had one that revved up to 4,000 and slammed in maybe, but I don't know how that would happen. I don't know. Do you understand that one? I don't think I do.
What about a rear differential replacement parts? I got an aggressive clutch kit for a competitor. Now my rack and pinion is destroyed. Depending upon the machine you got, we do sell rear differentials. We also sell rack and pinions. We sell upgraded rack and pinions, but a clutch, that would have nothing to do with a rack and pinion at all. That's total different sides of the machine.
Yeah, unless you had something messed up where it revved to 4,000 or 5,000 and a slam in that case, nobody would cover.
Right, exactly. Warranty claim denial can be appealed. It's the manufacturer's responsibility to prove you're at fault. Exactly. Do I need any? Oh yeah, already answered that. Yeah, I can't think of an answer for that one, FTW. Those are two whole different sides of the machine, but we do have those parts available, depending upon your machine. Yep. What else are we working on, Bill?
The future. My opinion is that Z10, if we get that and do that clutch like we did to the Can-Am or the Kawasaki, it's going to be very impressive. I'm not impressed with the videos I saw yet, but look what we did with the U10. I think we're going to be in a good area.
Yeah. Sea Monster said ECU tune is always needed because race car. Yeah, I'm with you, bub. Yeah, that, the Z10, I think is going to be a very hot topic, and the CFMOTO Z10 is going to be a very hot item. So I think we definitely need to. That's one thing we got to do, Bill. We're having a hard time keeping up with these U10 stuff because the sales are just they done blew the roof off my building. We sold like 200 kits in 1 week.
Well, and Stephen, in my humble opinion, there are two other people I know making the kits, but not like ours. I think it's because we sell the only real functional kit.
That's true. Everybody else is just kind of bubble gum together and a half-assed get her done.
Yeah, there's one that was bragging about getting their U10 down to 13 seconds, and our testing gets it down to 11.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Zero
With
60.
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, there's so much we could talk about with that, but I don't really want to get into conversations about competitors and stuff. But
Oh no,
pe-
no, we didn't
pe-
we didn't mention any competitors at
mm-mm,
all. So
mm-mm. People know that we're the clutch gurus, and they know where to go and get what they need. Your kits are really good. Thank you. We appreciate that. Bill and I work. Bill and I Bill. How many times have we been on the phone at like 3 a.m. doing clutch stuff?
you know what I was thinking. I
Huh?
was thinking in UCW fashion, we should have recorded one of those screaming sessions when we don't agree.
That's true. That's true. Because we don't agree on everything. But us not agreeing on everything is actually what gets it done. And that's
Well, the last one of those screaming sessions we had ended with a much better product.
it always does. It
Yeah,
always does. And it's like, well, the R1, Bill, you said I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's
I
going to
do.
work, but I'll do whatever you want. And I said, "Well, make me one. Don't make me 50. Make me one so I can test it." And it does work in a racing application or in a on-road application. It does work great.
Yeah,
But it doesn't work for everything great, and that's why I don't put them in a lot of kits, because I know that it's not for every single application. It's only for those special niche applications, and I'll sell 50 of those compared to 1,000 of the other ones.
yeah,
So it's for that niche rider, but we do have it. It's available. It's there. But Bill says it ain't gonna work, redneck. It ain't gonna work. But testing it in the race buggy, that's what helped get me 100 horsepower to the ground.
yeah,
And honestly, the SRM3 got me to 97 horsepower to the ground. So it's not that far different, but the usability of it, you wouldn't put the R1 in the woods,
no,
but you wouldn't put the SRM3
in a
on
drag race.
a
Yeah,
track or a drag race.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's got trade-offs there. And the trade-offs are very minor, and they're so minimal that the SRM3 does work in those situations. It works great in those situations. And the R1 will work in some trail situations.
Yeah,
Because of the angle that we have at the bottom, the very bottom of it. But yeah, and there's things I that Bill does, and I'm like, it ain't gonna work, and then I try it and it works.
yeah.
And
I,
then I got to tell Bill I'm sorry, and you
I
know,
that those adapt weights that fit the Can-Am perfectly just stunned me. You saying it probably fit, and I'm like, no, there's no way. And the odds are incredible, and it fit. I couldn't believe it.
yeah, it's nuts, and the fact that so the fact that we didn't have to wait 6 to 10 weeks to get a test set,
Yeah,
and then another 6 to 10 weeks to get another test set, and a 6 to 10 weeks to get final sets. That weight fitting, even though it's technically the wrong thing, it gave us an idea of where we had to be.
yeah. And I would have never tried that if you hadn't insisted on it, because the odds of it fitting are astronomical, but it did. So, and and the fact that it worked didn't surprise me because you know we've I've been working on that for 10 years to get that 2-speed weight and that flat profile to work correctly. So I wasn't worried about that. I wasn't too worried about that. And then
Right.
the Gen 3, with your input to change that lower shift, the first gear shift range to farther out, that was better yet on the flat profile. So, we keep going like that. I suspect when we get to Z10, we'll need a little longer area of that first gear shift to get the turbo really screaming. But that too will happen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Somebody said, let's get more low end. Can we elaborate a little bit there?
What
do you
helix
mean?
is he running now?
Well, that's what I want to find out. What machine he has, what size tires, what you know. U4 600 question: have you seen instances when it wouldn't come out of 4-wheel drive, like you turn it to too high, it just flashes at you and won't come out even if you rock back and forth? So the most common thing about that is the actuator. The actuator probably needs replaced, and we do have those on our website. That's the most common issue. The water gets in them, and the motor gets rusty and doesn't work right. R1 G2 CF1000 works great, but again, like you said, for racing applications, I can trail ride it too, no issues. Exactly, you can, and you're not going to have any issues. But if you're just straight up trail riding, the SRM3 is way more beneficial. But both can be used in both applications just fine. It's just one is better than the other in certain areas. That's what they're designed for. But they're so close to each other. They're so close to each other. I can't wait to get your clutch kit, my U-Force 1000. If you don't mind, what is the wait period for them right now? U-Force 1000 shipping out the door every day. You're good on those. They really don't have a long wait, a couple days maybe. But the U10, those are the ones that they're kind of overtaking all the other sales because they're selling so much. We sell a lot of the other ones. We move probably, I don't know, a ton. I can't even count. I done lost track, but I fell in love with that 1000 you have with the long term. Oh yeah, I give that to my buddy. That's awesome. So, hey, Bill, somebody said, I ran the U4 600 hard on R.N.G primary kit for about 2 years and it held solid. That thing is a tank. Sadly, my U-Force got taken, though, through a wall in a tornado right before New Year's and is now gone. Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that. We should beat that tornado's ice. 500, my dealer's denying my claim on my rear differential replacement due to having clutch kit. What my dealer told me. Clutch kit will not have any effect on that rear differential at all. And those rear differentials have so many problems. They know better. Tell them to work for you and get it done. Tell them R.N.G said so. But yeah, there's so much that we could do and talk about. It's insane. We could go until 20 years from now still talking. But Bill and I say Bill and I, but I have late nights with Bill. Bill has early mornings with me. Bill's a night owl, and yeah. So he works best like a bat at night. You're nocturnal.
I retired, so anybody wants me to get up early, I have a 1-finger salute for them.
That's it too. I'll call Bill at like 11 my time, and I'll forget it's like 8 his time, and I'll go, "Are you up, Bill?" And he goes, "Well, I am now." Yeah.
But it's funny when we talk about how we build these things. And the origin of this over 3 years ago is when I built a kit for a local vendor, and he tested it, and I was all proud of it. He goes, "That's too violent. There's too much power for our customers." And I'm like, "Really?" And I took it home and wrote it. And he was right, and so I revamped it. Somebody put me in touch with Steven, and then we put our heads together and got it exactly where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And Bill, do you remember when we first started? I was already doing primary clutch kits and stuff like that. But you and I really got these helixes to come to life. But do you remember a time where I was like, Bill, I can only afford to buy 5 helixes, and it was taking like weeks to get 5 of them.
Yes.
And now we're worried about how we're going to get 1,000 of them.
Yes. And
it's insane.
It
It
really is. As I remember that, I remember talking to the vendor saying the only way you get this price is if you buy 100. I'm like, 100, I'll never sell them. And then
right. And sure enough, there hasn't been a day go by that we haven't sold them.
Yeah.
They just work so good. Everybody tells everybody, and everybody hey, you got to get this, you got to get that. Yeah.
Hey, look, let me mention one other thing before I forget it. Somebody way up the tree there was talking about a KRX 1000. Dude, if it's a 4-post, Steven's got them there. You have to try them. And
yes.
And this is hold on here. Let me go over my Kawasaki parts here. The Kawasaki. Yeah. So I might as well do. I'm not doing Steven's sale pitch. I'm just proud of these guys. So this is, if you got that KRX 1000, you recognize the huge hole. And notice that ramp looks a whole lot like the Gen 3, just a slight difference here. And then we put this in instead of that JBS spring. It's softer than the JBS spring. And what we end up with is a KRX that at PPIR on their drag strip, 0 to 60, I'm sorry, 8th mile, it turned 8.3 seconds at 58 mile an hour.
Yeah. It's, the 4-post clutch kit and the spring absolutely brings the KRX to life. And guys, the best thing I like about the KRX. So Bill and I was talking about revving to $9,000, right? Well, my wife's got a KRX. She don't like it to rev. So I actually purposely overweighted the arms to drop the RPM down so she can cruise the trails and it's not going everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And it still is a ripper. It still is a ripper. It's perfect. So those of you who don't like the screaming high RPM, with our clutch kit, you can drop that down safely. It's designed to do that. But it's also designed to run at 9,000 RPMs if you want it to, and pull all the power out of the sucker. So
that's fun.
Yeah, at 9K RPM, I did it on Loris, and it was an absolute ripper. But for my wife though, everybody rides different. Me, I'm a go fast guy. I got to have every single RPM I can get without floating a valve. That's just me. But that's. Check out the clutch. Check out the KRX clutch stuff. We do got the 3-arm stuff coming. Just still working on minor details on that.
Yeah.
Being honest and not trying to take advantage of people. The heat shield is a perfect example. Most companies would not have shown a DIY heat shield fix. Yeah, and so like we was talking about earlier. I'm not sure if you was in here, but we were talking about. We are a company. We have to make money, but we have a fine line between making money and helping people. And helping people, it always does come back to help ourselves too. But I was doing that far before I had a company. I'm not going to change now because I got a company. My bills are paid. I'm happy. As long as the banks aren't coming to get my house, you know what I'm saying? I'm thrilled. I don't care. I'll eat hot dogs for a living. I don't care. I want to help people. Bill wants to help people. We both like to help. Bill's actually retired. Bill don't have to be doing any of this. Okay. So, Bill could be out on a snowmobile every day and just enjoying life, but no, here he is in that computer chair, talking clutch stuff with us. But I'm just saying, Bill's retired. He doesn't have to get up and work every day. And he does because he loves the community just as much as I do. And like I said, just because I started a company doesn't mean I got to change and be a tight ass. I'm going to do that stuff. And companies do hate it that I do that stuff. And it's like, why? I wanted to talk about something today. I was thinking about it on my way home. I was thinking, there's so many companies in this power sport industry that are just assholes. They're just straight up assholes. When I was working in the automotive shop, Bill, and wrenching on cars, you wouldn't believe I could pick up the phone, or another shop could pick up the phone and call me and go, hey Steve, man, working on this car. Can I borrow this tool? Do you got this tool? And I'd be, hey, come get it. Come get it. They're a competitor of mine making money from a potential customer that I could have. But for some reason, the greed isn't there. You come over into this power sports shit, and it's greed. It's greed, fucking greed. And if I can make a difference, if Bill can make a difference, wherever he's at, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We want to help the community, just like in the automotive world, when you could call up a shop across the street or a shop 10 miles down the road and go, hey, do you got this tool? Do you think I could borrow that? And no problem. No problem. Or I can tell you another instance. I'll tell you another instance, okay? This is what I did personally. Where I worked, there was a Dairy Queen across the street, and there was a lady that worked there. She had just had a starter put on. It was a Napa starter, and it was from a shop literally around the block. Okay. That shop was busy and couldn't get her in for 3 weeks. And this starter, she had just had it done a week ago. The starter went out in her car across the street. So she come across the street to see if we could help her. And I had a spare moment I could set aside, and I said, sure. So I went over, I looked at it. I'm like, I think it needs a starter, but I want to get it over here and check it out. So I go over, a couple of us, and we pushed that car across the street by hand, pushed it across the street, got it into my bay. I got it up in the air. I tested everything, made sure it was a bad starter. It was a bad starter. So I called her. I said, hey, it is a bad starter. And she goes, well, I just had that put on a week ago over at such and such. And I'm like, all right, let me get your name and everything. And I'll call them. So I called them. They said, hey, we'll pay you to do it. And I said, no. Cause they helped us out too. And I said, no. It was a 30-minute job. Not a big deal. They got me a starter on the way. I put it in. I didn't charge the lady anything. I didn't charge that shop anything. You work together. In the power sports industry, it's fucking greed. Fucking greed. Am I wrong, Bill?
For the most part, there are some that are different. Like that Kawasaki guy, Cornell, he is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, especially it seems like in a side-by-side, it's really some dog-eat-dog. I've sent out some test stuff and had it resold, and it's that's probably Cornell's the only one I can think of that I'd really trust, and so yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
Yeah, and that's I mean, like Bill said, there is some out there that are just like us. There is dealers out there that are just like us, but for the majority, it's greedy people. They got to be number one, got to be the best of the best, got to make everybody else, all the small guys, go out of business. They want to fight in Facebook groups. It's so much nastiness. It's insane. But I tell you guys what, you got my promise. I will help put a stop to all of that. And if I have to lose money on a heat shield to give you guys a free, well, not free, but like $25 option, I freaking will. But you know what? I thought that video would cut my heat shield sales down. No. It skyrocketed those. It skyrocketed those sales. And I am very appreciative. I really thank you guys. But the whole point in that video was to save you guys some money and show you how you could do it yourself with a simple tool such as your wife's scissors from the kitchen drawer. You can cut right through that aluminum and make it yourself in 10 minutes for $25, and it's just as good. And I'm not saying heat shields because there's a few companies out there doing it, but I'm just because somebody brought that up. And there's other videos I've done that tells people free advice to do this, do that, or whatever. We're going to continue to do that. We just want to help. To help someone who's not willing to spend money with you when it comes time to do so, period. It's not helpful to you to help someone who's not willing to spend money with you when it comes time to do so, period. I still bought your heat. Yeah, see, he still bought the heat shield. And I thank you for that. I really appreciate you. XGC, actually, it is helpful. It is. If you think about it in the big picture, the long picture, you going out of your way to help somebody, number one, the man up there is watching. Number two, you know that you did it. But I do get your point because you are 100% right. But also there's instances where that customer, that person, they're going to go, hey, you know what? I remember this guy helped me and I need this. I wonder if he can help me get this. And they're going to buy stuff from you. So what goes around does come around, and word spreads, word of mouth. So, and like I said, I didn't change because I'm in business. I've been doing this since before I met Bill. I get it wrong. The camera's backwards.
Wrong finger.
But yeah, wrong one. But I've been doing this since 2017, guys. But I've been doing it my whole life, just not on camera, right? I just in 2017 I picked up a camera. Let's see. What do you think of rough country? One's over the lift gets with you for rough country. I don't. I stick with the ones that like we sell on our website. You get a much better lift kit, something that's quality, and will last and won't rust. We're talking about greed, Bill. What is something you could touch base on that's sort of in the greedy realm that maybe could help people, and maybe we could change the off-road industry? You know, we're just two guys. We're just a small piece of the pie, but changes always start small, right?
Yeah. You know, and I heard your question, but I just keep thinking of this funny one that I talked to you about 4 or 5 days ago. A guy on Steven's page talked about how Steven was just trying to never take everybody's money and wasn't trying to do any help for the community. And I laughed because that same guy said the exact same thing about me on a snowmobile page. The same guy.
Yes. And he said it's easy to rebrand other people's parts and sell them.
Yeah, not knowing that they came from me. That's hilarious.
Right. And the thing is, though, he is right. It is easy to brand other people's parts and sell them, but you know what's not easy? What's not easy is to sit here on camera like we just did, and by we, really you, because you have the parts, and explain what the parts do. People who copy people cannot do that.
You're absolutely right, especially the guys that build on a dyno. They'll keep building stuff till it works on a dyno, sell it to you, and then when you ask them questions, they can't answer the question because they don't know how it happened. So if you call somebody and they can't give you specific information, they probably really don't know. And where there's one big vendor that does exactly that. We're not naming them, we're not bashing them. We're just making a point that that's what we like to do, is to be able to explain to you and tell you what it does and why it works. Because if we can't tell you why it does it, then we probably rebranded somebody else's.
Right. If you can't, and I see the comments over here, guys. Hang on. Yeah, you can't. Anybody who copies somebody else's stuff, that they don't, half the time they don't even know how it works or what it's doing. They can't sit there and explain like Bill and I can. We're not copying nothing. In fact, people are copying us. And I'm actually surprised that China hasn't gotten a hold of the Helix yet and copied it. Well, They did, but for another company. But you know what I mean. I'm surprised it's not
Yeah.
on Amazon or something. Um, but that's probably partially to they don't know what the fuck it does.
Well, the other part of that is we keep changing it. They copy it, but like we talked about that other vendor, by the
Evening,
time
buddy.
they copy it, it's changed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, XGC said, "No, you're taking it the wrong way. I'm talking about wasting a bunch of time helping someone that goes and buys someone else's products, looking for you to walk them through it, but not spending it on you." No, no, you're absolutely right. I didn't take it the wrong way. Maybe I kind of explained it the wrong way, but I definitely understood you and what you were saying. But and by me saying what I said, so let me reiterate just a little bit there. I actually used to help those guys. I did. And a lot of times I could turn them into a customer. In fact, I've had people with competitors' tunes, competitors' clutch kits message me and want help. And I helped them. And they was like, I couldn't tell you how many times, but honestly, I've had more times than I can count where people are like, you know what, Redneck, um, you took the time out of your Sunday evening to help me with this. Matter of fact, how much is your kit? Because I want to buy it right now, and I'm sending this back. A lot of times they bought my kit because I helped them, and they sent the other companies back. So the other company lost a sale because they wouldn't help their customer when they could have kept that sale by helping their customer. But I gained the sale, not even trying to gain the sale, just trying to help. But over the years, I have had to cut that back because at the end of the day, it does boil down to, like you're saying, if you want my help, you need to have my product. And that's just it. And for the most part, people are learning that. And it sucks that I have to cut that out. But at the end of the day, I have so many customers on the table that are waiting for me to reply back. I need to put them number one. I need to put them priority. Bill, how many times do you call me and I got to send you to, hey, Bill, I'm working with a customer. I'm working with a customer.
Oh, yeah.
And I put Bill on the back burner until 6, 7 o'clock at night. And it's because I'm so busy helping customers. But Bill is also important. Bill is behind the scenes and making sure that we get this clutch stuff done and out to you guys and manufactured. Bill handles all the manufacturing. Without Bill, I wouldn't be able. No, nobody would be able to talk to me because I would be doing what Bill's doing. But I have a Bill, and I'm lucky to have a Bill, so I can put more time. But sometimes I do, and sometimes Bill needs an answer from me like right now. And a lot of times he'll go, "It's important." And when he says that, I drop what I'm doing. I call him because it's important. And it goes like that. But there's only one of me. There's only one of him. But I do get you. I do understand him.
Steve, I was just thinking about that. We try to help the people. And I wanted to explain something to the guys that are listening, and that's that you call one of us with somebody else's parts. Now, what do? Do we tell you their part doesn't work because this is what's wrong with it? Or do we just politely say we're not going to get involved? That's where you put us in over the barrel. Because I'm not going to sit there and tell you what's wrong with the other guy's parts. That's not right. But I will tell you is that I can't help you with that. I can tell you what ours does and how it works, but I can't help you with that.
And that's honestly what I started doing, Bill. I started doing that exact same thing. And I just tell people, listen, if you want something that works and you want the customer service to back it up, you need to have us, our stuff. And a lot of people are like, all right, sold, and I get messages all the time where, and even Can-Am people, Polaris people message me. And sometimes I do help them, even though I don't really delve into that stuff, those brands, but I do help them. And they're like, R.N.G, do you sell this? And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, crap, because I would buy it from you just for helping me, but I'm like, no, but I think this guy does, you know what I mean? I do that, but it just is what it is,
Steven, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm curious, the people over there on the side, if we build a bona fide Polaris kit, how many people have any interest? Is it just somebody talking about it, or is there actually enough people
You're
matter?
you're killing me, Bill. You're killing me here.
He didn't want me
You
to do
kn-
this.
no, no,
He did
don't
not
don't
want
do
me to
that.
do this.
Don't do that to me, Bill. Don't do that to me. You know, I do. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. I do get a lot of guys asking for Polaris stuff, and more than not, the Polaris is the Expedition. Does that got a clutch in it? I don't keep up with Polaris, guys. I used to, so I'm not a dummy. I just don't keep up with it. Does the Expedition have a clutch in it? Because I get message after message after message after message. Hey, do you do a clutch kit for the Expedition? And I am like, no, sorry. I think it does, but I don't know. Do you know, Bill?
No, I don't. And the reason I was saying is anybody actually had interest, because I had a local dealer in Colorado ask me to make weights for a Polaris, the General, and
Yes.
so I made that. And then the guy that had me make them is no longer at that company, so now I end up with a bunch of test devices. That's not the production one. That's a test one. But
Yeah.
man, these work awesome on Polaris, but I can't get rid of the test ones. So that's why we're a little hesitant to dive in and build something when nobody wants them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Oh yeah, Sea Monster, you're right. He said the first one to market street mods for the side by side community will make a fortune. It's an untapped area, quiet exhaust, lower cruising RPM, smooth street oriented products, lots of people. So that's the benefit of our clutch kit, especially the Omni Drive clutch kit.
Yes.
You can lower that RPM for the street cruising. We did keep that in mind, and that was a huge topic of me and Bill's math and science behind everything. Well, that's what we wanted. We wanted you to be able to do that, and we also wanted you to be able to run wild and crazy. So yeah, we are the only clutch builder that allows that to happen.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like Steven said, the fourth street that's already been done. Fourth street, the correct helix, extra weight on the arms. You may lose a tiny bit of dirt performance, but you can make one heck of a street machine. A lot smoother cruising RPM. Yes, that we have that. It's call Steven.
Yeah, we can make that happen. XGC Raptor says the Expedition does have a clutch. I was wondering why I was getting all those messages. So I'll be quite frank and quite honest with you. I am not, and I'm pretty sure Bill's on the same page. We are not spending almost $50,000 to build clutch kits. So if there's any dealer, Polaris dealer around here that wants to work with one of us two to get us a machine and leave it with us, and don't whine about it because it takes months to do this stuff. If there's any dealer watching, any salesman watching, and you want to get your dealer to work with us directly, reach out to us, loan us a machine, donate us a machine. You can have it back when we're done. But I do need it. Bill would need it for 6 months, probably. So, but we used to work with dealers, and Bill still does some on his end, but he's got one specific dealer that really works with him and is really patient with him. But we used to work with dealers, and the number one thing we'd run into, they would send it to us. We would have it for a week, and they go, "Hey, I need that machine back. I sold it." Well, what the fuck? I got it ripped apart in my shop. But I done sent the clutch to, you know what I'm saying? Didn't we, Bill? We run into that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to leave us alone, and let us work. And then that dealer can be on the R.N.G. team and the Stingray Mods team, and we can do cool things with that dealer. We can promote them on the channel. We do that type of stuff in return for helping us. Or if somebody has a machine that wants to loan it to us, leave us alone. Don't bug us. Let us work our magic and get it done. And, but I'm being blunt like that because it has to be said. It has to be said, or don't reach out to us.
Yeah. And because I've done this for so long, you've seen I've already got the test set. It's not like you're sending it to Joe Shithead to try to figure out how a clutch works. The test model is already made. It's just all I need on my end is a week. Steven will need a little more for testing on his end, but all I need is a week to get that together, and then to do. Honestly, we would need the machine for fine tuning. We already know what it needs. We just need the fine tuning.
Right. Fine tuning takes that long. Production does take a
Correct.
little, but that's the thing. I have to drive the machine not only on the dyno but in the woods,
Yeah.
on the street where applicable. Okay, I need to be able to drive this thing, and literally, so it will be in videos. And if a dealer reaches out to us, I'll go, hey, thanks to such and such dealer, they stepped up to the plate. They loaned us this machine. So at the end of the day, it's going to have a couple 100 miles on it. We don't test for 5 minutes and call it good.
No.
So, we need a machine dedicated. So be prepared for that machine to not be brand. I'm not going to beat the shit out of it. I'm not going to beat it up. And if I wreck it, then I'll buy it. Right. I'll stand behind it. I got insurance on the company, but I've never used it for a claim. It just comes out of my pocket. I buy the machine. I own a machine that I didn't freaking want. But to this day, knock on wood, I've not wrecked a machine tuning into clutch. I've not beat one up. Scratches happen. Scratches do happen, but I try not to when it's not my stuff. And and the only reason I was running the Can-Am that hard for videos, because the owner is a good friend of mine, and he's like, redneck. He's like, get in that thing and drive it. So I did. And of course I had Bill. Did you drive that yet? Did you drive that yet? Did you drive that yet?
No, it was only 3 times an hour.
That's it too. Bill was excited. I was excited, but I brought it home that hammered down snow, and I'm like, damn it, So, but yeah, if you guys know of a dealer, reach out to them, show them this live stream, tell them to come to this timestamp, 1 hour and 56 minutes, and listen to what I have to say, and maybe we can do something cool and start getting machines. Because guys, I'm simply not going to pay 50 grand for a machine, so we can just build clutch kits. I'm just not. So we need some little bit of work on the back end from somebody, and it will benefit them. It will benefit them. We can drive machine sales to them. I'm not really getting into the Polaris market that hard, so I wouldn't really be competition for them. You know what I mean? But I work with a Segway dealer. I work with a Segway dealer. We kind of do the same thing. And Bill does work with a Polaris dealer, but they're not a big dealer. They're a small time dealer, right, Bill?
They changed some ownership, so things have changed.
Okay. Yeah.
They went from giving me a new machine for a weekend to test to, nothing. So it happens. Yeah. But I was going to mention, I hope I'm not giving away our secrets here, but I build clutches. It doesn't take me long to build a clutch because I usually know where I'm at. So I build a clutch, do a quick test here. Off it goes to Steven. He does the long-term testing. I don't do long-term testing here.
Yeah, and then I usually know within a ride or two if something needs changed. It's pretty quick, and then we'll make that change, and then I'll know if a ride or two if it's good, and then we test for longevity. Then we start tuning in for tire sizes and all the different variables. But yeah, guys, if y'all, and by no means am I begging, I could care less about the Polaris market.
Yeah.
Bill has brought it up.
I don't think Steven wanted me to mention it anyways, but I did.
No, I didn't. Thanks. Yeah. Now tell us the truth. It's not the 50K. It's the 50K for yeah, right. Correct. You're correct there. I'll pay 50K for a car that I want, not a Polaris.
I got to ask, did anybody in a site over there pick up that expensive Kawasaki H2?
I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one of those too.
Too much, 50K for that thing. No.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just, CFMOTO is right in my ballpark. I'll buy it. I'll own it. I'll play with it. I'll use it. But getting into 50K, it's just, no.
I can buy a brand new F-150 for that.
That's the thing. That's the thing, Bill. I'm sorry. I just ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. But if somebody wants to get on our team and work with us, we'll do it. We'll do it. But until then, I'm not getting into the Polaris world. Too, it's, and the thing is, all of my people are CFMOTO people. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? But we do have a wide reach, a very wide reach. We
Yeah.
could work with a dealer and make it worth it. But like I said, I am not begging.
I was
No.
stunned at how many CFMOTO people have snowmobiles.
Right. Yeah. I have had a bunch of people ask me about snowmobiles, and I just send them to you.
Well, snowmobiles a dying art. We had very little snow, and now the snowmobiles are $20,000 a piece instead of 10,000, and yeah, that's a dying art. So I think this will be one of my last seasons for snowmobile clutching.
Yeah. Somebody said you can buy a new F-150 700 horsepower for 57,000.
Yeah, or an H1 Kawasaki with extras.
Right.
H2, I'm sorry, H2 Kawasaki with extras.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Hey, we'll see where this takes us, Bill. There, if something happens, then God obviously wants me to work on that crap. I mean, work on Polaris.
Well, I have a rental here that asked me to take one of their Polarises and test it for clutching, but it doesn't do me any good to fix a clutch for them if you're not an outlet to sell them. I don't want to make them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I would, because Polaris is very hot and heavy in my area. I would probably generate a lot of business, but it boils down to getting the machines and just,
Yeah.
I would rather put 50K in the CFMOTO world and do things that way. But if somebody wants to work with us and they'll forget my number for a few months, I'm game. I'm game. Don't bring me a machine on a Monday and then ask me Friday if they can have it back because they sold it. I don't do it, because I will bring it in pieces.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. We used to do that. I used to work with dealers and they would do that to me all the time, and it's like, sorry, you know. But and I don't like to be rushed. Perfection is my thing. My father had, I believe it was a 1074 H1 Kawasaki 900 triple two-stroke street bike. Oh, geez.
That,
1974.
it was probably the 750. They made a 500 and a 750. Close friend of mine bought the brand new 750.
Yeah.
It was called the Widowmaker because it was so dangerous. It was like a bicycle with a turbo on it.
That's nuts.
It really was. It was very it was very overpowered at the time. At any rate, so that's kind of where we're at. We build lots of stuff. We get lots of stuff done. The
Yep.
Can-Am, I'm still excited to see how that ends up. I got the weights marked for the new weights to have those made, the custom ones made. We do have ones we can sell now if anybody's interested. They just take more weight than what we wanted to put in them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So we do have them if they want them, but the others are coming too.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, well, we'll see what the viewers can come up with and see if they really want this Polaris stuff. We can make it happen if we get some help. That it's the 750. That thing was insanely fast. Yeah.
Yeah, my good friend took his brand new one to the drag strip and amazed everybody with it. Clear back then.
Well, they were light too, weren't they? They were really light.
Yeah, it was archaic suspension. It was very light with the monster engine, Monster 750.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, I guess we've been on here for 2 hours. It's almost 10 o'clock my time, so
He had to come in and say hi.
there we go. New puppy, huh? Yeah.
Somebody's got to watch the parts.
Right, exactly. Parts dog. All right. Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired.
Yes, sir. It was good to talk to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining Bill and I, and hopefully this kind of answers some questions. And We were happy to answer some of your questions. We appreciate you. Maybe we'll do this a little more frequently, but I get busy, so it gets hard. But yeah. Well, Bill, I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
All right. Very good.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
See
Peace
ya.
out. God bless. See ya.